Hey Beaker Middle School, and welcome to the October edition of What's New in the Library. It's finally starting to cool down a little bit out there, and fall has arrived. This is the perfect time of year to curl up with a great book and tuck in with a blanket on the couch since it's getting colder outside. So I thought I would give you some great new reads to jump into this month. We're going to start with one that came in really late last year, and I read it over the summer. It is called Dumplin', and it is young adult, so just fair warning for those of you that don't have permission to read those or are in 5th grade, sorry. This one's called Dumplin', and I love the little slogan. It says, "Go big or go home." This is the story of Will. She's a girl, and her mother was really into beauty pageants and didn't think that Will was good enough, and so she nicknamed her Dumplin' because she thought she was too big. Will has never had an issue with the way she looks. Her idea of the perfect bikini body is to take whatever body you have and put a bikini on it. She doesn't care what other people think. She doesn't care if people think she's a little chunky monkey. She makes lots of jokes. She's very happy with who she is until she meets a boy. And he is kind of really popular and a jock, and he likes her for who she is, but she starts questioning herself and wondering if she's good enough for him. So in order to kind of get her confidence back, she gets into a beauty pageant, and she is setting out to prove that girls of any size can be just as good at beauty queens as anybody else. And so really great story about self-confidence and believing in who you are. Again, this one's called Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. The next one we're going to look at is called Skink No Surrender by Carl Hayson. Okay, this book is crazy and funny. It's in our comedy section. And it's about a boy whose cousin goes missing. And he enlists a guy named Skink. Now, Skink is the former governor of Florida, who most people think are dead. He is not a politician. He is not a normal person. He's a little bit crazy. And he gets Skink and the boy go looking for his girl cousin who's been kidnapped. And they get in, there's lightning strikes and huge storms and bullets flying and alligator attacks and all this crazy stuff that happens along the way. But Skink, the former governor guy, is really kind of off his rocker, and the stuff he goes through to get this girl back and try to find her are totally crazy. They're in Florida, and so there's swamps and all this craziness going on. This book was definitely an adventure book, but hilarious at the same time. This is one that almost made the Truman List this year. It just barely didn't make it. So this is a really, really good book. It just barely missed the Truman List, so definitely one you should check out. And our next one is called The Worst Class Trip Ever. This one is in the realistic fiction section, and it is about two boys who are going on a class trip. And one of them, his goal for the class trip is to do anything but embarrass himself in front of the girl he likes. They're all 8th graders, and they're all heading to Washington, D.C. They load on the plane, and there's these mysterious guys sitting by the two boys on the plane. And they start watching things, and they think they're up to no good. And they end up getting in huge trouble with the airplane and huge trouble with their teacher. And those mysterious guys keep a very suspicious eye on them and keep popping up everywhere they go. So there's a mystery there, but there's also just a lot of antics and a lot of funny things going on this 8th grade class trip. Great book, super easy read by Dave Barry, just funny, not overwhelming at all. Just a great book about some kids who are in a lot of trouble through most of the book. So again, this one is called The Worst Class Trip Ever. We're going to hear from students this month and see what's been out and about and being read at Beaker Middle School.
Project 1065 is a book about a boy named Michael, and he joins the Nazis to be part of the Nazi party, and he helps take the Nazis down because he's part of the Irish people. It's a really good book. You should read it.
I'm Candace, and I'm in 5th grade, and I like the book Tentacles by Roland Smith. It's the second book in the Cryptid Hunter series. I like it because it's really It's a mystery, and it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it stops in the middle of a sentence, and then you have to get on to the next book, and it's really fun to read.
Time for some new books this month. We got a bunch in. This first one is called Fangirl, a new realistic fiction. The Boy at the Top of the Mountain, another new good realistic fiction, also historical. This one is called Being Jazz, new narrative nonfiction. Then we have Zoe in Wonderland. The Morgan's Curse, which is book 3 in the 8th Day series. A new Big Nate book, Revenge of the Cream Puffs. And Project 1065 that you just heard from Sky. Burning Top, a new book in our narrative nonfiction section. Dead Boy. We got in the Jedi Academy series. This is kind of like a twist on Star Wars, where they take the Star Wars kids and put them in a middle school. Kind of a fun series there. This is Stick Dog number 5. New Coretta Scott King winner that just came in called Monster. Until I Find Julian is a new one. Gary Paulson's newest song, Fishbone's Song. Great new horror book, The Bargaining. Another Coretta Scott King winner, One Crazy Summer, also won the National Book Award. Great new realistic fiction about texting. This one's called Backlash. Great new story in realistic fiction, Free Verse. Young adult romance, The Thing About the Truth. Another realistic fiction, The Lonely Ones. New sports book by Fred Bowen. This one is called Touchdown Trouble. New science fiction, The Book of Ivy. Book 2 to the Moonbase Alpha series. This one is called Spaced Out. So if you have been reading Space Case, you would love this book too, Spaced Out. Second book to The Finisher about Vega Jane, for those of you who've been asking for this one. It's called The Keeper. New action mystery, Zero Day. 13 Chairs is a book with 13 horror stories in it. Great new realistic fiction about the falling of the Twin Towers. Another good mystery, Hold Me Like a Breath. Book 6 in the Stick Dog series. New heartbreaking romance called Breaking Butterflies. Another new narrative nonfiction called Trapped Behind Nazi Lines. The newest in the Olympians graphic novel series. This one is Apollo. Another new romance, Open Road Summer. A new book in the He Said, She Said series. Very popular series here. This one's called Michael and Maria. It is definitely young adult. A new book by Morgan Matson, the author of Since You've Been Gone. This one is called The Unexpected Everything. New book in the Quick Pick Papers series. It's called To Kick a Corpse. Book 3 in the Shipwreck Island series by S.A. Bodine. This one is Trapped. The last book in the Full Measure trilogy. The first book is Divided We Fall. New science fiction by Lauren Miller. This one is Free to Fall. And finally, probably one of the most anticipated books in our library this year. This is the sequel to The Body in the Woods, April Henry's new book, Blood Will Tell. Stop! We interrupt this showing of What's New in the Library to watch a really funny video from YouTube.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. The library will be closing now. Thank you.
Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum books. Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum books. Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum books. Bum ba-dum bum bum.
This hit, that nice man, poor Jay Gatsby, that sad end. This one about tragic girls, them helpless girls, straight masterpiece. Styling, holding, living it up in the city. Got cancer and a cool boyfriend. Gotta stop myself, I'm so nerdy. It's too hot, oh man. Call the police and the fireman. It's too hot, oh man. See the dragon and the Shire man. It's too hot, oh man. Say her name, you know who she is. It's too hot, oh man. Am I bad about that money? Break it down. Words hit you, hallelujah. Woo! Words hit you, hallelujah. Woo! Words hit you, hallelujah. Woo! 'Cause on Red Book, gonna give it to you. 'Cause on Red Book, gonna give it to you. 'Cause on Red Book, gonna give it to you. Saturday night and I'm in my seat. Don't believe me, just read. Come on. Don't believe me, just read. 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 Hey, hey, hey. Ow! Stop. Wait a minute. Fill my mind, put some verbiage in it. Take a look. It's a T-Rex. Juliet, tissue next. Ride to outer space or the Earth's core in a bus with that hippie. If she show up, he better get out. Or why don't you take a lesson from Pippi? Who's too hot? Oh man. Call the police and the fireman. It's too hot. Oh man. With the dragon girl and the Swedish man. It's too hot. Oh man. Don't say his name, you know who it is. It's too hot. Oh man. Why is he mad about that? Honey, break it down. Words hit you, hallelujah. Woo! Words hit you, hallelujah. Woo! Words hit you, hallelujah. Woo! 'Cause on Red Book, gonna give it to you. 'Cause on Red Book, gonna give it to you. 'Cause on Red Book, gonna give it book it up. Unread, book it up. Unread, book it up. Unread, book it up. I said unread, book it up. Unread, book it up. Unread, book it up. Unread, book it up. Come on, glance, jump in it. If you check it out, return it. If you want it, then buy it. You can brag about it, just tweet it. Come on, glance, jump in it. If you Kindling, e-book it. Is it Saturday night, go in your seat? Don't feel guilty, just read. Come on! Don't feel guilty, just read. Don't feel guilty, just read. Everybody just read. Everybody just read. Everybody just read. Hey, 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 ow! Come on.
Psst, you, hey, you, the kid sitting in class whose phone is supposed to be turned off in their pocket, but we both know it's really on. Are you following the library on Instagram yet? You should be. When you get out of school today, like as in when the bell rings, go to Instagram and search Beaker Library, spelled like this. And then you can follow us on Instagram. We're going to post new books when they come in. You can see what's going on in the library, even if you can't get here. It's like your own little visit to the library digitally. So make sure you follow us. Well, Beaker Middle School, that does it for the October edition of What's New in the Library. I hope you got a kick out of our video and found a couple of good books to read this month. We will see you all again during the beautiful month of November.